Welcome to episode 14 of The Martial Truth, Health and Fitness. First, I just want to thank all of you, the more than 11,000 subscribers to the channel. I started the channel in 2009, and it's been a real joy for me to do this. I still have a lot of VHS tapes to go through to pull up video. I plan on filming other stuff and starting some other aspects of the channel as we move forward. And I'm glad of the positive feedback, and some of the negative feedback I get is good also. It makes me rethink things and look to do things in a better way. So thanks, really appreciate it. Tell your friends, spread the word. Maybe we reach 12,000 subscribers. All right. So I wanted to talk about health and fitness because I think it's an important topic, especially for myself as I near my 60th year on the planet, okay, which will be coming up very soon. As you get older, you spend, sadly, you spend a little bit more time seeing doctors, and these things just happen, and you have to deal with it. So, health and fitness as it relates to martial arts. So let's talk about it. So my first instructor was overweight, didn't really train much, liked to talk about martial arts, didn't really like to do it too much. Sure, he demonstrated some techniques when he would teach, but you never saw him really going out and practicing, like working hard to perfect his craft. And I see this pattern with a lot of sensei as they go up in rank. They lose that joy that they had, that they started training in martial arts to begin with, which was the feeling of the movement, the actual training. You felt like, okay, if I work on this technique, oh look, I finally got it, right? And now, okay, now I get to work on a new technique or a new kata or a new weapon, right? And the idea of the actual physical training. And, you know, I started when I was 15. I'm training now 45 years, unbroken, never took a break except when I got banged up at work or pulled a muscle doing something, you know. I've trained straight for 45 years. You know, I've tried to keep myself in pretty good physical condition. I've always trained hard. You know, you'll never be able to find one of my students that says, yeah, you know, I never saw Sensei practicing kata, or I never saw, you know, Mike Calandra doing this or doing that. They see me do everything. I train in every class. I pair off. I work with people. Okay? So I've always done that. I've always maintained my love for what first got me into martial arts and for why I liked it so much, which was the physical training. All right. And, you know, I've had my ups and downs where I've gone up in weight to a certain point. You know, like right now, I'm trying to lose more weight. So at one point I was 188. I'm down to 168 pounds, and my hope is to get between 160 and 165. In my case, I have a few reasons. One, I just feel better. As I'm lighter, I feel better. And I just decided, okay, what am I doing? So I changed my diet a little bit, and you know, I also changed my workouts a little bit. I don't just do martial arts; I do other types of training too, which I'll discuss as this video goes on. And I watch what I eat. I put the fork down. I count my calories every single day. Every single day, I count my calories. So I see how many calories I'm putting into the body. And when I initially started doing that, I have to be honest, I was pretty disgusted with myself. I looked and I said, my God, that's how many calories you're putting in your body a day? Okay, this has got to stop. All right. So as martial artists, if you're a senior sensei and as you go up in rank, your waistline gets bigger and bigger, that's a problem. Okay. And, you know, I love the excuses. Well, you know, I've got some health problems. We all have some health problems. I have a bad knee. I was born with it, so it's not from karate. Obviously, has martial arts helped it? Absolutely not. Okay, but I'm still able to train. I'm still able to train hard. What I do is I'm a little careful about what I do with that particular leg. I limit certain things, so I don't do certain things as much as I used to because it's really not good for the knee. So what I do is I manage it. So one of the things I was told by doctors is for every pound I lose, I take 8 pounds off my knees. So that was major incentive for me to lose more weight so that my knee won't bother me as much. So big incentive for me. I see, and again, certain things, in the world now is we no longer have to hunt for our food, so we can just hop in a car and go to a store and buy food and come back and sit and eat it. So because we no longer have to hunt for our food, it's become very easy. So we're not actually working to get the food. Okay, so my rule now is I have to work if I'm going to eat a little bit more. So as an example, this past weekend was Memorial Day here. Now, Memorial Day in the United States is about remembering all the military personnel that gave their life in the defense of this country. But it's also a time for people to get together. In our family, my wife's father was a veteran. He was a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was there when the Pearl Harbor was attacked. He survived it. He fought in the Pacific. Harrowing stories he told me. So we have that link to Memorial Day. He died several years ago. We've always thought of him as a hero for his service to this country. So, we got together with my wife's brother and we had a little barbecue and a family get together. And I knew at that barbecue that there'll be desserts and there'd be a lot. And I partook. I ate the desserts and I ate a lot. But I skipped lunch that day. And then I knew right away that the next day I'd get right back on track. So I was pleasantly surprised when I got on the scale Sunday morning after the day of eating. I was still 168. And I was like, okay, good, not bad, right? And then I got right back on the stick, right? So it's not something where I'm crazy and I'm not a vegetarian. I don't only eat meat, so, I eat everything. I just limit what I eat. And there's certain things I don't. I don't eat candy. On occasion will I have some candy? Of course, who doesn't? I don't eat a lot of sweets. Will I have some cake if I'm at an event? Of course I'll have some cake. Will my wife make a cake maybe for some event we're having? Of course she will, right? But what we'll do is after a few days, to be honest, we throw the rest of the cake out. We don't feel the need where we have to finish the whole cake, okay? If I go out to a restaurant and the portion is huge, I don't feel the need that I have to finish the whole thing. I leave food on the plate, okay? And again, sometimes it's very difficult. Why is it difficult? It's difficult because the food's really good. It tastes really good. But what I do is I force myself and I say, okay, listen, I'm full. I don't need to eat anymore. So the sensei that his waist grows bigger the higher up he goes in rank needs to be honest with himself and realize that he's gotten away from what got him into martial arts and what made him love martial arts. And again, I hear the excuses. I have health problems. I have a bad knee. I have a bad hip. I have this. I have that. Okay. That's no reason to keep putting the food in the mouth. So if you're not able to train the way you were and you notice your weight starts to balloon, okay, well, then you've got to cut back on things. And those things you may have to cut back on are food, alcohol. Okay? Alcohol puts a tremendous amount of weight. And for some reason within the world of martial arts, we've gotten this notion, well, that you train hard and then you party hard. Okay? And this is a big thing in Japan. Okay? I don't drink alcohol. So I've got to be honest. Sometimes in Japan, I get looked at in a certain way. And my thing is, well, I don't care that they drink. Why should they care that I don't? Okay? I don't drink alcohol. Simple as that. I don't smoke either. All right? So for years in Japan, everywhere I went in Japan, everyone was smoking like a fiend. Now you're seeing less and less people smoking in Japan. Okay? Because why? Because all people are hearing is how dangerous and how unhealthy smoking is for you. Well, it's the same thing if you get very overweight. If you get very overweight and are carrying that weight, you're forcing your heart to work like it's not designed to work. Okay? You're forcing your legs to carry weight that it's not designed to carry. Okay? And you see it in Japan and Okinawa too, right? You'll see all of a sudden, a 7th or 8th Dan who's overweight, and you say to yourself, boy, I thought here in Japan or Okinawa they'd set the example, but I guess it's a problem there too. Now, it's not a problem for every sensei. You still see far more sensei in Japan and Okinawa in good physical condition than you see in the United States. In the United States, you see a lot of overweight sensei. The standard joke in my dojo was my students would say, "Oh, Michael never would make 8th Dan because he's not fat enough." And, sadly, I mean, you can't really argue it because you see so many senior dans that are dramatically overweight. And, this stuff leads to other health problems, diabetes, and many, many different things. Heart disease. I have heart disease in my family, right? So, one of the reasons I keep myself in shape is because I know we have heart disease in the family. So what I try to do is I try to prevent that heart disease from affecting me by making sure my heart's in good working order. And one of that is to eat right and to train, exercise, work out. Okay, and this is vitally important. So let's talk about some things that we can do to monitor our weight. To me, the most important thing is you download a calorie counting app for your phone or your iPad or your computer or whatever you want to do. And you literally enter everything you eat all day long. I use a simple one that's called MyFitnessPal. All right. I'm not advocating for it, but it's very simple. It's free. You can pay for it and get more features, but I don't really need the features, so I just use the free one. And I enter everything I eat. And, sometimes if you go, let's say you eat a lot of fast food. I mean, you'd be amazed how much one meal at a McDonald's or Wendy's or any number of fast food places, how many calories. So literally, if for some reason I eat a fast food meal, that's basically my calories for the day. So right now I'm allowing myself 1,500 calories a day. Okay. If I go to Cane's chicken fingers, which I love, if I go there and I get the 3-piece chicken fingers with the fries and the garlic bread and a medium drink, it's like 1,300 calories or 1,400 calories. So, if I do that once a week, once every 2 weeks, no big deal. No big deal. I consider that like a cheat day. Okay? But I'm not doing it every couple of days. I'm not doing it every week. Like, I've dramatically cut back on fast food. Okay? I do mostly my own cooking. We don't go out to eat, so that helps. Makes it easy to keep track of the calories. So very important thing to help to keep the weight down is keeping track of your calories. And it's very simple to do now with all this modern technology we have. There's several apps you can use. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is, as you do martial arts, you need to understand that martial arts is exercise. It is exercise, but it's also a skill. Okay? So there's a little bit difference between a skill and an exercise. A skill is like piano. I study piano. I'm developing the skill of playing piano. I go bowling. I'm developing the skill of bowling. Now, is there an exercise element to both those things? Yeah, in playing piano, you're exercising your fingers, you're moving your arms back and forth on the keyboard. In bowling, you're taking several steps and you're throwing a heavy ball with your arm. There's definitely an element of exercise. But here's the issue. As you become more efficient and you move more efficient in any physical skill that you develop, As you move more efficient, it's not as vigorous an exercise. So then what you have to do is you have to make sure you train for power and speed to push the body, get that huffing and puffing a little bit so you get that exercise. For myself, because I train in so many different arts, you know, when I do weapons arts, especially like Mariyoshi Kobudo, which has so many different weapons, I'm working all these different muscles in my body, which helps to keep me physically fit. Katori Shintaru, the same thing. When I'm training in sword and Katori, I'm working certain muscles. When I'm working bow in Katori, different muscles. When I'm working Naginata, different. If I'm doing Iai, different, okay? So all these different things, I'm working different muscles, okay? If I do feeding crane, I get one type of a workout. If I do Chen style Tai Chi Chuan practical method, and you know, I may do it slow where I grind out the form and create a tremendous stretch, so I'm really pushing my muscles, and then I might do it with speed and power and get a completely different type of workout. But still, I'm training 45 years in Isshinryu, so when I move in Isshinryu, it feels very normal, it feels very natural, right? I still get exercise out of it, but not like I did when I first started training. So what I also do is I supplement my martial arts training with other types of exercise. Obviously, I walk. I go for a walk with my wife, walk the dogs, we go hiking. I live out in Arizona. There's a million places you go hiking. It's great. I used to ride a bike a lot. Since I moved out to Arizona, I haven't been doing it so much, but probably at some point we'll get back into it. So bike riding is very good. You know, that's one exercise very good for my knee. The other thing I do is I do kettlebell. Okay, so I do a series of kettlebell exercises. The reason I do kettlebell is when I do a kettlebell exercise, I'm not just working a small muscle group. I might be doing an exercise that works more my shoulder, bicep, tricep, but it's also working my legs and my back and other things as I'm doing the movement. So I do a series of kettlebell exercises. And you can go on YouTube and you'll find a million kettlebell routines. And again, I'm not spending hours every week doing kettlebell. I do kettlebell, I look to do it 3 times a week. And I do like a 45 minute to an hour kettlebell. I also do push-ups, okay? I do core work, all right? I do crunches, I do planks, okay? I also do other core work with a medicine ball. I also incorporate medicine ball training in my Isshinryu karate classes, okay? So forcing people to get a little bit of an extra workout in a little bit different way. And again, you can look on YouTube and see a million medicine ball training. Now, am I doing medicine ball every class? No. Maybe I'm doing it every 5th or 6th class, you know. And then, you know, then if a student comes down early and says, "Hey, Sensei, could we throw the medicine ball around?" I'm all for it because it's making me do more exercise, and that's good. So let me talk about why I do kettlebell. I had a weight machine in the dojo here in Arizona, and I actually got rid of it. I've come to realize that this idea of going to the gym or having an exercise machine in your house, and the one I had only had a set of fairly simple exercise. But you go to the gym and you go on a chest machine, and then they want you to go on the back machine. And usually there's several chest machines. There's the bench press, there's the lat pull-in, there's, you know, the chest pull-in, then there's, you know, the pull-down, then there's the press-up, right? And they have multiple machines that work a small muscle group, okay? And you wind up having to spend a lot of time at the gym going from these different exercise machines. I don't think that benefits my martial arts. I think kettlebell, the pure power of the kettlebell and the way the kettlebell works my body, I think is far more beneficial to me as a martial artist. Now, if you want to go to the gym and you want to look ripped and you want to get big and do that, God bless you. I have no interest in that, okay? I'm in pretty good shape. For my age, you know, the way I move, I have 20-year-olds that say, "Boy, I wish I could move like you, Sensei." Okay, well, you can. You just have to train. Okay, you have to keep your body at a good fitness level. Too many martial artists, again, the longer they train, and especially if they start teaching, they become good counters. They're very good at counting. Okay, So when I went to India, when the politicians got done making their speeches and I was told I could start teaching, I jumped down off the stage and I went into the group of people and I started showing techniques. And on a break, a few of the people came over to me and said, "We've never seen a sensei like you." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And they said, "Well, all the senseis come and they count on the stage. They show a technique on the stage and they just count and have us repeat the technique." I said, "All right, well, I'm not just a counter. I'm a doer." So I like to say I'm a worker-outer, okay? So I don't just talk about working out. I don't just count. I lead by example, okay? I do the push-ups with the students. I do everything with the students. And again, at a certain point, I'll get to a point where, okay, I won't be able to do as many push-ups as the younger guys. I just won't. I'll get to a certain age, and my body may not let me do it. And you know what? I'll understand that. But I guarantee you, I'll still be able to do more push-ups than most people my age, all right? And that's the key. The key is like, I see people all the time and, they'll say to me, "Well, how old are you?" And I'll go 60. And they'll go, "You're 60? And I'm go, "Well, yeah, I'll be 60 in a couple of months," right? Or, they're surprised at how fast I still am. A couple of the students commented here recently, a couple of the younger students, the teenagers, how can you be so fast? And again, I know they don't want to say it, but basically what they want to say is, "Sensei, you're like as old as our grandfather, and we don't understand how you can be so fast." But they don't want to say that because they think they're insulting me. But in reality, they're not insulting me because I am older, and I still maintain my speed and power. And that's one of the things I think that's very important. If you're not able to generate power, that's a problem as you get older. So in martial arts, it's about generating power. If you can't generate power, okay, well, that's a huge problem. And if you let yourself go physically, you're not going to be able to generate power the way you were. And then when you try to generate power, you're going to pull something. The other thing let's talk about is the fact that a lot of the early practitioners of martial arts were military guys. So they were in Okinawa in Japan, and, they have a military mindset, and, the instructor says hit the makiwara, and they go hit the makiwara for a long time, and you got to do this, and repetition, and that's great, right? The problem is they were all young when they were training in Okinawa, Japan. So they're in their late teens, early 20s, they're training like maniacs, and that's the way they think they're going to train all the time. And now as they get older, they start hurting themselves. And then it becomes, you hurt yourself, then you hurt yourself again. And then you hurt yourself again. And now you start to not train like you were. And then before you know it, the weight starts getting put on, okay? And then before you know it, you're obese, okay? And, you can barely walk through kata, let alone do any kata with speed or power. This is a problem. So the problem is as we get older, if we've only learned one way to train, if we continue to try to train when we're in our 30s and 40s the way we did when we were a teenager, our body's going to let us know, well, that's just not going to work out. Now you're in your 50s. If you think you're going to train, if I think in my 50s I'm going to train the way I did when I was 15, not going to happen. Okay. And I'll just give you an idea. So my wife gets annoyed all the time when people say I'm a natural in martial arts. "Oh, that Calandra, he's a natural. He picks up so fast, he's a natural." When the person walks away, my wife, if she's there, will turn to me and say, "It really irks me because we've been married 36 years. So she's with me. We're together since we're teenagers." She says, "I remember how you trained when we were first going together. And I've seen how you train throughout the years. And it's an insult to you, basically, when they say, oh, you're a natural," almost saying like, well, Calandra hasn't had to work hard. When I was a teenager, there were days where I trained 8 hours. Like I was off from high school. Remember, I started when I was 15. I've been working since I'm 12. So let's say, though, I had a day off. If I had a day off, like there were days where I would train for 8 hours. And I mean train. Again, I'm young. I could do that. That training was kind of like interest growing in the bank. Like it was me depositing money. So now my body's become so used to movement, and it's developed certain abilities, that frankly, I'm proud of, but I'm not content with. I still think I can get better, right? And it developed those habits, that habit of training. Okay, so the other thing is when we allow ourselves to go, we're not setting the example for the students. And as a sensei, my job is to set the example for the dojo. When I first went to Okinawa, Master Shimabuku Kichido said to me that the dojo will go as the sensei goes. So if the sensei leads by example, and it's a good example, the students will follow that example. If the sensei only talks about karate, right, and doesn't practice karate, the students will leave him. If the sensei eats too much and drinks too much and gets fat, the students will leave him. So the sensei has to set the example. And, he could have been talking about several sensei in Isshinryu, right? And that's not unimportant as to who he was talking about. But those words hit home for me. And I decided I was going to lead by example. So I wasn't going to be one of these sensei that let himself go and didn't train and didn't push himself and didn't push his students. I was going to be one of those guys where the student never said, wow, sensei's lazy. All sensei does is talk, but he never trains. He just stands up there and counts. Boy, he's fat. And he tells us we have to be in shape and we have to work hard, but he doesn't do it. So why should we have to do it? So this becomes a problem within the structure of the dojo. Okay? So in my dojo, all the black belts train. You won't walk into my dojo, whether it's the school in New York, which is run by James Waller, or whether it's my school in Arizona. You won't walk in and say, boy, the teachers here, they don't train. They let themselves go, right? No, they all train, And, some people may have put on a few pounds, and good, that happens, but they're not fat to the point of where they can't move, right? And they're not fat to the point where, they still can't really perform at a good level. All right. So it's important both for our health and to lead by example for the students that we take our health and our fitness very serious. And sadly, in a big swath of martial arts, I see that not to be the case, where sensei have let themselves go. They don't lead by example. They definitely drink too much. They eat too much. And it's a problem. And, then they wonder, well, why don't I have a dojo anymore? Well, you don't have a dojo anymore because, people are looking at you and saying, this is the person that's supposed to teach me martial arts, and he's 50, 60 pounds overweight. Okay. Again, sometimes we have to take a hard look at ourselves and we have to say, okay, it's on me. It's not the other guy's fault. It's my fault, right? So when I was up to 188 pounds, there was nobody to blame for that but me. And I was still training. I was still doing sets of 50 push-ups. It wasn't like I wasn't in shape, but it was just like I just didn't feel as good as I could. And I finally said, all right, listen, I'm going to knock some weight off. And it's taken me a while. I mean, it's taken me roughly, I want to say probably 2 years of it gradual getting down to maybe a year and a half, getting down to 168. And I'm not going to be in a rush to get down to that 160. I'm going to let the pounds come off. I'm not going to rush it. All right. You have to find the diet that works for you, the eating that works for you. You have to find the exercise that works for you. You have to find the way to practice martial arts that you get a good workout out of it, and then you have to find that supplemental exercise that you like. I recommended kettlebell and some other things, but you could find something else. Maybe you like to run, so then run. Okay? With my knee, I can't run anymore. But like I said, I go on walks, I go on hikes. So, in closing, take a look at yourself. Am I setting the example? Am I being as disciplined as I can for myself? And if you're a martial artist, it's all about discipline. Okay? So it's never too late to start to gain control of your health and fitness. Okay? So just do it. Say you're going to do it and do it. Okay? Hope you've enjoyed this one. It's an important one. Your health and fitness. Again, You don't have anything if you don't have your health, right? Our parents used to say that all the time, right? It's true, okay? So take care of yourself, all right? If you like what you see, please click the like, subscribe, and please share it. It helps the channel, all right? And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Have a great day.